So hello everybody and welcome to the very first commentary video on this other channel. So this is a brand new concept where I thought I would give everybody a complete kind of background, in-depth kind of view of the video that was recorded, and I thought that the very first video that we should do this on would be my most watched video. My most watched video on YouTube at the moment is the Roman Hoard video. So it's entitled "We Found a Roman Hoard Metal Detecting in the UK," and it is currently on 26,000 views. And I filmed this very recently. It was just before Christmas, so it was 2023. So I'd probably say it was about 3.5 months ago or something like that. And it turned out to be a fantastic day. So if you're watching this channel and listening to me talking over this video, chances are you've probably already seen the video, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to give you a little bit of background information and a bit of an insight as to the day that we went out, found all those amazing coins, and the circumstances around it. So without further ado, let's start the video. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's yeah, nice pretty landscape shots. Obviously filmed with a drone, and I got up super early and it was a super cold day, and actually what you can see is all the shadows from the trees in the fields, and because the sun hasn't got to those bits yet, they're still frozen in the ground. And it's one of those things that you probably wouldn't ever notice unless you were flying a drone, but trees create shadows and they freeze exactly as the tree shadow formed. And it's a really beautiful thing. I absolutely love it, flying a drone and just seeing all these wonderful things as you fly overhead. I suppose that's kind of what a bird would see as well, which is really cool. So yeah, here is me really badly whistling jingle bells. Hello and welcome back to my channel, and there I am in a ridiculous looking Christmas hat. That was meant to be an elf's hat, and it's meant to have ears on the side, but to be honest I think I cheaped out a little bit on that hat, and it was just the worst hat I could have purchased because it was so cheaply made, and you couldn't really see the ears, so it looked a little bit ridiculous. I honestly do look ridiculous in this, but it was Christmas and the things you do for a bit of festive cheer, I suppose. It was a good laugh on the day, especially seeing Brian in his Ebenezer Scrooge hat as well was quite good, and he played along with it really well. He was a good sport that day, and he even came up with the name Ebenezer, and apparently he gets to wear that Christmas hat every single year because in his household the Emperor Brisegius is known as Ebenezer, so he's a little bit of a humbug. However, he didn't have a chance to do it on this video because I made sure that it was full of Christmas cheer and fun and laughs, and hopefully that played off on the camera as well. I think it's always quite difficult trying to come across, you know, a little bit Christmassy without it being too kind of corny or cheesy, and I think that was where I was going with this. And if you remember last year, I filmed another Christmas special where I went out with Mr. Tweed, and yeah, he basically brought some tinsel, because I told him that he had to bring some tinsel so that we could, you know, decorate our detectors and decorate our hats and things, and he brought a really sensible colour tinsel, and I knew that he was going to do that, so I brought some very bright sort of pearlescent tinsel that was quite feminine, that I knew he wouldn't enjoy specifically for the video, and I filmed it and I said, yeah, unfortunately you're gonna have to wear this, and he did. He was a good sport and it turned out quite funny, which was really fun. Again, Christmas cheer. So here is a shot, and it's it was quite interesting because I filmed the shot, and when I was editing it, I just noticed that all of the sheep were looking in one direction. I have no idea to this day what they were looking at because nobody was on that side of the field, but when I was editing the shot, I just sort of noticed that all of the sheep were just looking in this one direction. So I thought, I've got to put something there, and I just found this animated Santa Claus and popped him in the field, and I think it worked really, really well. It really does look like all of these sheep are looking at Santa Claus in the field thinking, what are you doing in this field? You are definitely not the farmer of this field, for sure. So I'm setting up a little bit of the kind of history of the site here. And it really was an interesting site because I knew that there was something in this field because I'd done a little bit of research on the landscape. And when I went and knocked on the door to ask for permission, I kind of approached it in a sense that I said, look, there's possibly something in the top field, do you know about it? And they had only recently kind of moved into that permission. However, they were told that there was something there, but they weren't really sure what it was. And I sort of helped fill in the blanks for them, which worked out really, really well in terms of gaining a bit of trust with the landowners and explaining why I wanted to sort of kind of detect around that area. But yeah, it turned out that what was there was really, really, really cool.
So the ground here is quite a sort of sandy type of ground.
So another really interesting point to say as well is that I got the permission and I went there the week before that I filmed this video, and I wasn't filming it for YouTube or anything like that. I was just having a kind of recce really, just to see what was there. And this particular field that we were in, which is where the feature was recorded to be in, I went to straight away, and it was really cold because it was December and it was really, really windy. And I walked up and down the field a few times. I probably made about 4 passes in the field, and I walked around the outside a little bit. And I didn't get very much at all. I got lots of shotgun caps, just like this one you can see now, some standard moo tubes, and I did find a Roman coin. It was a Roman grot. And I thought, oh, okay, that's not too bad, you know, I'm quite happy with that. It's supposed to be a Roman sort of feature in the field, so finding a Roman coin here would make sense. But I was so intent of seeing what was in the other fields that I then left that field and spent the rest of the day wandering around the other fields, and I found absolutely nothing in those other fields. And so I wasn't that keen really to sort of come back, even though I had found a Roman coin. And as you can see here, we were in the field for about half an hour doing some metal detecting. And I said to Brian, before we got to the permission, I said, look, I've done a little bit of a recce. I was here last week. I did find a Roman coin in one of the fields, but I wasn't really too sure whether we were going to find anything there because I, you know, had put a lot more hours in after finding that Roman coin and didn't find much more. So I remember saying to Brian, I cannot promise we're going to get anything, but there is potential here, so let's go and have a look. And we were in the field for probably about half an hour. It takes me a little bit longer than everyone else to get out detecting because I've got camera gear to set up, shots to set up, and I sort of do my piece to camera and stuff like that. So Brian had just gone off straight away and started detecting. And look what he found within half an hour of being in the field. It was incredible.
That's 3rd century radiate crown, so it's 3rd century radiate. Really nice. Well done.
So yeah, that coin turned out to be over 10% precious metal, so it was silver. And although it was broken, it was just in absolutely stunning condition. And that coin there is the very first coin that we had that actually had really, really nice details on it. So interestingly now, I was at the bottom of the field and Brian was at the top of the field, and that's where he found the coin. And I left where I basically was detecting at the bottom because I thought, do you know what, if he's found a coin up there, then I'll come up around the top of the field and give it a bit of a go as well. And that is pretty much what you see me doing here. I am now at the top of the field, almost encroaching in sort of Brian's patch, but it's big enough field that there's enough room for 2 of us in there to do some detecting. And yeah, I start getting amazing signals, just like this one.
So, whatever it is...
And I remember
come out in the top
Brian
part
saying
here.
as well that when he pulled this coin
great.
that he found previously
see if we
out
can
of the hole,
out
that it was in the
what
top
it
of the
is.
plug. And when I found this and it was in the top of the plug, I was thinking, wow, could this be
It's a Roman.
a Roman coin? And there you go, it is. It was another Roman coin.
wow.
And look how
Look at
close
this, guys.
to the top of the
on
grass
camera.
layer that coin was. If you
is
look at
most
that plug, I had to
Roman
burrow into that plug, so that I was
Just having a
pretty
closer
much
look at it.
on the underside
You
of
saw
the
this one
grass.
come out of the ground
And
live
look
on
at the
camera,
amazing condition
and it
of
is
that
without
coin.
doubt a lovely little Roman coin. And it looks like it's another 3rd century radiate.
So the reason why these coins are
Doesn't look
green is
silver,
because
this one.
although they do
Like
contain
prime
silver, they're
it's still
debased. And that basically
absolutely
means that
stunning.
around this time
Now, this
in
is
the
a
sort of
coin
late 2nd
you don't wanna
century,
just scrub it off with your hands because you can take
sorry,
off
well,
some
it'd be
really
3rd
nice
century
details on this
essentially.
So
The
I'm
coins
gonna leave this one as
were
is,
had to be
take
minted
it
because
home for
soldiers
its
still
sake,
needed
and
to
of
be
course
paid,
I'll attach
especially
an
in
amazing picture of
outposts
it
like this
on
one would
the,
have been.
video for you all
But
to
of
see.
course they didn't have silver
But
and gold and things like that, so they just had
cannot
to chuck
believe
so much into
that
the
we have
pot
just
to
gone
try and
found
make coins look
another
relatively
Roman coin
good.
in this field.
And when this
The
coin was
Christmas
new and
miracle is
minted, it
really,
would have
really
been
happening. It is
almost
amazing.
identical to a
And of
silver
course, we
version of
weren't
an
expecting this
Antoninianus.
at all. This is a
And it's
brand
only
new
because
position.
it's
We've
been
never
in the
ever been in
ground
this
for
position really
the best
before,
part
so
of 2,000
to come
years
into a field and
that
find
what it's
Roman
done is
coins
broken down
straight
the
away.
copper
We've
alloy
only been here for about
metal
half an hour
inside
now,
the coin,
there you
and
know.
that
So
sort of turned
what an
green with
amazing
rust or
start to the day.
corrosion, essentially.
Truly amazed
But
at what
nobody,
the
when it was
potential of today is
minted
gonna
at
hold.
that
So
time,
stay
probably would have
tuned.
been able to
Hopefully we're
tell
gonna
the
get some more.
difference
Hey,
in
who
terms
knows,
of
we
the
could
way
even
that the
get
coin
some even
looked
better
to a
stuff as
silver
well.
one and a
But
debased
let's
one,
keep going
and
and see you on
especially
the next
how
one.
it weighed as well. They would have done it really,
So
really
Brian has
carefully
just
and really,
called me
really
over
cleverly,
because
even
he's
though
got a
they were
target
minted in a
not too
huge
far away
rush.
from where I had that lovely little Roman coin. And Brian forgot his pinpointer, so he left it in his car.
Yeah,
He asked me
so
to come over
this is
and
Brian's
pinpoint
coin. So
his
he
target
had
for
called me over
And I did.
to
And
say
what
that
has
he'd
come
found
out
another Roman coin. And
is
again, this is
another
on the underside
Roman
of the plug,
coin.
so none of these coins
Can
are
you
deep.
believe it?
And they were
Oh
all
my
coming up
goodness, it
around
is
this really
absolutely
small
stunning.
area of this field as
Absolutely
well. I
stunning.
mean, honestly, this was probably about
I
a
just have no
30-foot
words. We've
square
come
in the top
to a
part of
position
this
that not
field
really
that
been
we
to
started
before.
getting these
And
amazing
yeah, okay, it had some
condition Roman
interesting
coins
features
out
and
of.
lots of historical relevance,
And yeah,
but
Brian had
I
forgotten his
did not
pinpointer
think
that
we would be
day,
pulling
and I remember
Roman
him
coins this thick
walking
and
to
this
the
fast.
field,
So it really does mean
and
that
it
the
was a
Romans
fair
were
trek
here
into
and
this
they were
field.
here in
It
their
was so
day.
steep walking up onto the
It's
top of
another
this
radiate
plateau
coin.
where this
Really,
feature
really
was
nice.
in this
This one
field.
looks like it was
It was
silvered.
so steep that
It's
both
dated
myself
from
and Brian
really
had to
silver.
take 2 or 3 regular breaks
But
whilst
just
walking up there
absolutely
because it was
stunning.
so exhausting.
I
And
think
he
we've had
got all the
4
way
Roman
up to the top of
coins
this
since we've been
field
here, and
and
we haven't
started
been here an
setting up
hour.
his
So
stuff, and then
I
went
think
off,
today
left
is
my
going to be
pinpointer in the
absolutely
car,
amazing.
and it was all the way at the
I'm pretty
bottom of
sure
this
you might
hill
want to
back
get
down in the
towards this one
farmyard where we
because
had
I
parked
think
our
these coins
cars,
are going to come
and
out
he
thick and
just
fast.
wasn't
So as
up
they
for
do,
going
of
down to
course,
get it
you're
and
going to see
retrieving
them
it, and
first.
I don't blame
But
him.
another great coin there
But if there was ever a day where you would
Ebenezer
want to have your
Scrooge,
pinpointer with you,
and that's
it's
going
a
to go
day
straight in
where
his
you
pocket.
find a Roman
And we're
coin
going to go
hoard,
find
trust
some
me,
more. So let's do
because
that
it
now.
just makes life a lot
So
easier.
we are not too far on
But luckily
from
all the
another
coins were
amazing
on the
Roman
underside
coin.
of the plug,
And I
so
had a really
it kind
unusual
of worked
target.
out
I say
okay in the
unusual
end.
because
He
it
was
was
able to
unusual
retrieve
for the
them
type of
relatively
field and the type of
easily.
targets we had all
And if he
day.
struggled, he would
Quite
just
high
call me over
pinpoint
as
stats
well,
on
and I'd be able to
84
find
to
them,
85.
just like I did
And I
with that
dug
amazing
down
coin
and
that
it
just
came
came
out
out.
in the plug. And what came out? I think it was a hammered coin. A silver hammered coin.
Yeah, so this is really interesting as well, because
Honestly, guys, what I
for a
find
moment,
in
I
the
honestly did
field,
think that
what I
I'd
find in
found
the field,
a
I
hammered
never
coin.
ever plant
Now,
anything in
at this
those videos.
stage,
Do not
we
believe
probably
it.
had
It will never
about
happen.
3 or 4
And what
really
you see
amazing
come out
condition
is exactly
Roman
what comes
coins in
out.
our
And
pockets.
honestly, we were just
And
not
I would
expecting this.
never
So,
ever
so
have
good.
thought that
The
there would
Christmas
be
miracle really
a
is in
medieval
full effect
hammered
today.
coin in this field.
And the
It was
coin that I've
just
got
the
here,
last thing you would ever expect to find.
it's very
What I was
difficult to spot
expecting
what
to
it actually
find
is.
was
So,
Roman
of
coins,
course, it looks
shotgun
like a hammered
caps,
coin
and the
because
odd
it's very
moo
thin
tube.
and it's made of
And
silver.
then I dug a target
Not really too
in in the same area as the hotspot as well, so in that sort of 30-foot radius. And this thing popped out, and I was just gobsmacked. And I remember specifically pulling the coin out of the ground and then shouting over to Brian. I was like, "You're never going to believe what I've just found." And he went, "What, you found another Roman coin?" But I said, "No, I think I've just gone and found a silver hammered coin." And he was just as gobsmacked as me. Came over and had a look, and we found out that it was this, well, it was William III, so it was just a little bit sort of more recent than a hammered coin, but still very thin and in a love token.
Sometimes bending it into an S shape.
And that's one thing that you don't see on the camera as well when I'm sort of filming these videos, is a lot of the time when I get something good, I will literally shout out to somebody else that I'm detecting with, and there'll be this moment where everyone stops detecting, runs over and has a look what you found, and you kind of discuss it and you reveal it together. And it makes it a bit more special, I think, when you go out with other people, because you get to celebrate the amazing things that you find, and that's half of the sort of rush associated with pulling out these really old things from the ground, is trying to work out what it is, and doing the reveal with your finger, and then seeing all the details and stuff on it as well. So these are things that I would never be able to put in the videos. This video is 36 minutes long, I think, from memory, and this is literally cut down, so it's just the best bits of the stuff that come out, and me trying to quite poorly explain what these things are and why they might be there and stuff like that. So if you can imagine, if I kept all of that footage in every video, they would just be so long and quite boring, I think. You know, I get that once every now and again you might want to watch a video where I keep all of that footage in, but I think, you know, for longevity, you need to try and keep them interesting, and that's why I sort of keep the best bits in, really.
Other metals and things like that as well.
So this here is one of my favourite coins. This here, yeah, is a Trajan Dacius coin, and if you look at the date, it says 249 to 251 AD, and that is because Trajan Dacius only ruled for 3 years until he was killed in battle, and it's quite a rare coin. In Roman numismatics terms, it is quite a rare coin, and it is an Antoninianus. It is part precious metal as well, and I had no idea at the time what type of coin it was. I just knew that it was an amazing silver coin that had come out of the ground, and to be honest, I was more focused on getting my head down and trying to find more coins, because they were coming out really thick and really fast at this stage. And I have been detecting for many years, and I have never ever been to a permission where I have just gone into a field and just started pulling out amazing Roman coin after Roman coin after Roman coin. It really was an absolutely special moment. So I can see why the video did well. It's you know, you don't get many videos, I think, on YouTube where people are genuinely, for the first time, pulling out this amount of good quality Roman coinage live on the camera. I mean, it's as live as it can be. Live digs are a very difficult thing to do for YouTube, I think, because they just, again, take up so much time. So what I like to do is find the target and then dig it out and then show you it sort of coming out of the ground, or show you it in my hand, so that I've got more time to explain about the find and explain to people out there that might not be into metal detecting what it might be, why is it there, how old is it, all of the interesting things, I think, that are associated with finding these. And for me and my channel, I want to do that more. I want to focus on that more, rather than somebody watching you swing a detector over a target and then digging it out. I watch YouTube videos as well of YouTubers. You know, that's what got me into YouTube, to be honest with you. And one thing that I find really boring, and this is just me personally, I get everybody's different, is just watching people dig holes. There's no skill involved in digging a hole, if I'm honest with you, and you don't learn anything. And I like to just try and cut that content out, and just try and keep the interesting bits. But I do understand that my idea of interesting is probably very different to other people's, but hey, some people must find it interesting because it's got 26,000 views, so hopefully it's working.
In this field, quite an interesting story actually. So the landowners, who are the farmers that obviously farm this area as well, were walking through the field with a few of their friends.
Yeah, so actually, this was true. So me and Brian were in the field, and honestly, we were on such a high because we were just pulling out all of these coins. It was such a great experience to be able to do it, and we didn't want to stop. We wanted to just keep digging and digging and digging, and lo and behold, we look up, and there is literally about 8 people walking through the top of this field. And it's not what you expect in a field in the middle of nowhere. And we thought, huh? And I looked over and I could see 2 of them were the landowners. So I thought, oh, okay, they've obviously come over to see what we're up to and see what we're finding. Turns out the people that they're with is some of their friends who live locally, and it was one of their birthdays, and they decided to go for a walk, and they said that we were up in the field looking at this feature that was potentially in the field, and that they wanted to see what we'd been finding, basically. So they took a path which made sure they came through the field, and they were all really nice. They were really, really nice people, and the landowners honestly were some of the most accommodating, nicest, friendliest peoples that you could meet. Really, really friendly. And it was so interesting because I did get a signal, and I knew that it would be a Roman coin because it was pitch perfect like all of the others. And literally at this point, I could see these 8 people walking over to me, and I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to dig it right now. I'm just going to wait and leave it. And we stood there talking for about half an hour to these people. It was a really great experience. And I genuinely almost forgot about this target until I sort of went back and went, oh no, wait, I had a target there. And then I said to them, I was like, look, if you wait, there's a possibility that I might pull out another Roman coin. Because we were showing them all of the Roman coins and stuff that we had found. And I stood there, and I kid you not, I had about 9 people, including Brian, in a circle around me, watching me dig a hole just like this in the ground. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to do all of this, and it's going to be a moo tube or something. Lo and behold, I dug the hole, nice and round, nice and neat, flipped the plug over. It came out in the plug, and I knew at that stage it must be a Roman coin because they have all come out in the plug. And I started scratching around with my pinpointer. I saw it was a Roman coin, and I said to the lady whose birthday it was, I said, you can be the first person to pick this coin out of the ground for 2,000 years. And she was over the moon. Honestly, it made her day. It made her birthday. And she picked it up from the ground, and she was holding it and utterly amazed. It was quite a special moment for me, and it was a very special moment for her. And apparently the landowner said later that day that it really made her day, and it made her birthday. And that meant a huge amount to me, actually. I was really, happy that I could do that for her. I often wonder whether or not I sparked an interest in her to rush out and buy a metal detector and start going out metal detecting, because that is how keen and chuffed that she was. So yeah, that's a bit more of a background there on that brief story that I told to the camera. But if you've ever tried digging out a target from the ground with 9 people stood around eagerly watching every move that you make, I can assure you that it's not a great experience. It's very, very strange. And I stand in front of a camera all the time talking to everyone on YouTube that watches my videos. But no, this was a different type of pressure. So I'm really glad that it paid off. I'm really glad that a nice coin came out for her.
Exactly the same as all of the other coins that I found in here.
But look, another amazing coin. Another Trajan Dacius as well. Another amazing condition Trajan Dacius. One thing that we realised quite soon was that these fields hadn't been ploughed with modern agricultural machinery. So in other words, modern ploughs, modern tractors, modern farms and stuff like that, it's never been touched in terms of an arable field. The only traces of it ever being ploughed that I could find was back to the tithe maps, which here in the UK pretty much every field, every plot of land was mapped out with its name and who owned it and what it was being used for. And that was done in the mid-1800s, and it's an invaluable source of information, especially if you do metal detecting. The tithe maps are really, really good. And I managed to go back through the tithe maps and see that some of these fields had been ploughed, but that was a couple of hundred years ago. And I think that's why these coins were coming out in such great condition, because these fields have been laid in pasture for so long. And you can tell that they've never been ploughed because the coins are just literally below the grass line and they are in absolutely perfect condition. So yeah, we were just so pleased to be pulling them out in this condition. Most of the time when you go to Roman sites, you pull out grots. Grots are essentially undistinguishable Roman coins of very little historical value, and they just were like kind of the pennies of today, really, very low grade coins of low grade metal. And you can barely make out stuff on them. You know, you can barely make out the emperor. They're very warm. They've been in circulation and treated really badly. So to pull out coins of this pedigree, this degree, and this detail was just amazing. It really was just an amazing experience.
So yeah, it's quite interesting how spread in the
so there's Brian again, pulling out another coin, and by this stage we had sort of moved out of this hotspot, this sort of 30-meter square, because honestly, two people detecting a 30-meter square, you're only going to be able to do that for so long. And so we started spreading out, and I started working up the field, and Brian has started working down the field, and things had started to slow down quite considerably. And I think this coin here was one of the sort of first coins that we found outside of this hotspot area. So it was quite an important little find, because it was telling us that what we thought was this highly concentrated little area where the coins were coming out, we now knew that they were actually a little bit further out as well. And that made us really excited, because we just knew instantly that things are going to get pretty furious again if we get our heads down and try and see if we can find some more out of this area.
It's huge, isn't it? Yeah.
And that, interestingly, this is the point as well where, and this is completely live on the camera, we both sort of looked at each other and we said, is this a hoard? And this was the exact moment that, and I remember it as clear as day, we both sort of said, this has got to be a hoard, because they're in such close proximity of each other. They're coming out really nice condition, and they are all a very similar age and a very similar style coin. And we both had this moment where we just looked at it, this could be a hoard. Why are they here, and why are there so many of them that are coming out of the ground? And interestingly enough, it obviously turned out to be a hoard of Roman coins. It has been classed as a hoard of Roman coins. Both myself and Brian hand delivered each and every one of these coins, 33 in total, to our local museum to meet our Finds Liaison Officer. The Finds Liaison Officer, for you guys that aren't in the UK, they're the person that the local authority puts in charge of finds that are made within a certain county. I mean, you guys in the States would probably call it a state, and you probably have much bigger states than we have counties, but there is one person for our county that is responsible for taking in or documenting finds that are made within English soil within that county. And these could be finds that are made if you were digging up a garden wall or doing a renovation or anything like that. They could be any finds. They don't have to be metal finds. They can be pottery finds as well. But yeah, we have those people in the UK that we have to go and see. And if they're treasure finds as well, then they fill out the treasure certificate for you, and yeah, then it gets sent off to the British Museum and it's valued, and then it goes off to a committee to see if a local museum wants to purchase it, or it could go to a national museum as well.
Signals of far few in between, isn't they? And it's just,
Yep.
you know.
We've just been kind of working these little hotspots, finding these coins, and I think this afternoon we've tried to spread out a little bit to see what else is there, and nothing was as furious as that hotspot that we found earlier, but they're certainly in here and they're certainly scattered around, aren't they? But I mean, yeah, just some truly amazing coins you've got there. That is a stunning coin, isn't it? I don't know who the Empress is on there, but that is...
I'll try to find out tonight.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I mean, look, that's as silver comes, isn't it? It's
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely beautiful. And of course you had your big follis there as well. And just some really nice coins. So I think you've done really well there. I think Christmas has come early for you. Best day ever. Best day ever. There you go. Happy with that. Just before Christmas as well. So happy days. Happy days. Well done, Bri. Well done, mate. So it's about 3:45 now, and being winter, of course, that means it's going to get dark fairly soon. Been pushing on really hard.
So we're quite late in the day now. As you can see, it is getting darker. But trust me, when you're on a permission which is producing so many amazing finds such as this, you would go all night if you could. And really interestingly, at the end of that day, it really did start to get pitch black, and me and Brian just did not want to leave that field. But you know, nobody really wants to go detecting at night, whether you've got a head torch, flashlights, whatever. Trust me, it is more hassle than it's worth. I honestly think that people that decide to go out and do night hawking, I mean, obviously it's highly illegal anyway, you shouldn't be doing it, but how do they do it? I mean, how do they go out at night and find stuff? Just absolutely baffles me. It's no wonder they leave treasured sites full of horrible looking holes and things like that, because it just must be so difficult. But again, you know, they definitely shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Looting national important sites is a fool's game. It really is. I've always said that there's two types of metal detectorists. There are ones that go out searching for history, and there are ones that go out searching for treasure. And to be honest, if you go out searching for treasure, I think you're always going to be let down, because it's not out there. It's not everywhere in my experience. You've got to do your homework, and you've got to put the hours in if you want to find the good stuff, for sure. That little coin that I found there was really interesting. So I believe what it was is an imitation denarius. Really interesting as well, because it looks like the Emperor Vespasian. Really odd to find that coin in and amongst all of these Antoninianus. We had 33 coins in total that we handed into the museum, and 31 of them were 10% silver Antoninianus, and one of them was a bronze Sestertius, and one of them was that tiny little sort of imitation denarius as well. So just a very strange eclectic mix of other coins in and amongst all of these coins. And I always wonder to this day, and me and Brian always talk about this day, it's something that I'll probably talk about for a very long time, to be honest, but we always wonder whether or not there was a larger pot of coins in the field, and that's where we were finding all of these Antoninianus from, and then the other coins were just the general remnants of a Roman site, and possibly they were left either before the actual placement of the pot or the purse or the cash or whatever, and we just happened to find them. Very interestingly, the denarius came out of the same hole as one of these silver Antoninianus coins. It was just a lot deeper. It was about, another spade's full of soil to come out of the hole. So I'm doing my outro here, and you just saw the moon come up in the sky. What was really funny was that, again, we were there for so long that day that it got dark, because we didn't want to leave. And I tried to film an outro in the field, And I actually did, but when I reviewed the footage at home when I was editing it to upload it, you just couldn't see me. It was the worst outro ever, and so I was almost forced to do this type of outro because I wanted to give everyone a bit of a debrief about the site that we'd found and all the things that we'd found and what a great day it was and stuff like that. But honestly, me stood in a field where it was pitch black, it just didn't work at all. However, I'm really glad that I decided to film this section because I think this worked a lot better in context of the video, because it was such a special find. It was a big moment. I think it deserved this kind of extra little bit at the end that was in good daylight, and my nice Christmas tree in the back there, which was decorated by me and my little boy as well. Likes to throw things on a tree. Doesn't really decorate it, just sort of throws them on there, but he likes it, and I change it when he goes to bed anyway. So yeah, I'm just explaining here about the Trajan Dacius. So I had found out at this stage, I didn't know, we came home with a pocket full of coins, and it wasn't until I got home and started to research who was on these coins that I went, oh my goodness, this is Trajan Dacius, one of a very rare coin, a very rare emperor, and I was just blown away, totally blown away by the find, the coins, the day. It really was a Christmas miracle. We couldn't have guaranteed that there was going to be anything in that permission, and it turned out that it was one of the best days I had ever had detecting. It was a really, really special moment, and to happen just before Christmas. This is literally about 1 week before Christmas that we went out and filmed this, and this could have gone great or it could have gone terrible and we couldn't have found anything at all. But I have this thing now where whenever we do a Christmas video, I like to go to a permission that I've never ever been to before, in hopes that the Christmas miracle will happen. I know that sounds quite strange, but yeah, it's just something I've kind of always done. And this time, honestly, it paid off. It was such a strange thing. I honestly never thought that the Christmas miracle will happen. I don't believe in the Christmas miracle, and or anything like that. But this time and on this video, it really, really happened, and I am so thankful that I managed to catch it all on film, on camera, for everybody to see. I rarely watch my videos, by the way. I'm not one of these people that sits and watches their stuff because, to be honest with you, I enjoy going out, I enjoy making the films and doing the metal detecting and stuff like that, but I really don't like watching myself on camera at all. But I get everybody is self-critical to a degree. However, on this occasion, just to relive this day, I will watch this video every now and again, skip through the bits where I'm waffling on and look at these amazing coins, because the museum has these coins now, so we no longer have them. And do I think we're going to get them back? I don't think we are. I think they are going to go to a local museum. Hopefully they get put on display, because if these just get purchased by a local museum for a very small fee and get thrown in a drawer, I'll just be so gutted. The system, it will just be so broken if that happens. They would be treasured more by me, the landowners, and Brian. And to be honest, if they're going to give me pennies for them, I'm very tempted to try and outbid them and try and get them back. But we will see what happens with these coins. And that is it for this commentary video. So let me know what you think about this. This is quite a unique thing. I don't know anybody else that's ever tried to do a commentary video on their own video. But it was an idea I had quite some time ago, and I wanted to push it across onto this channel. So what do you guys think of this? Do you like it? Does it give you an insight as to, the day and things like that? I'm quite happy to do these on a regular basis for you, and if you've got any videos on my channel that you specifically want me to do this to, then let me know in the comments below, and I will certainly make that happen for you without a doubt. So again, thank you very much for watching this one. Really, really do appreciate it. Do stay tuned on the other channel because, yeah, lots of new digs coming for that one, and a little bit of juicy information for you right at the end of this video. So if you've watched this far, then you're really dedicated and you deserve this little juicy tidbit. But I have just got a new permission, and this new permission has had an archaeological dig on it back in the 1960s. And there has been a bucket load of Samian pottery that have come out of this permission. And it's also supposed to be the site of a medieval market, and the field opposite as well also had a very old chapel in it as well, and it is all undetected land. Nobody really knows what was there. I only know about it because I look at very old archaeological journals, because I'm a bit sad like that. But yeah, it promises to be an equally good permission as this one. So there we are, a nice little tip for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all on the next hole.